Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. Synopsis. This audio podcast synopsis is as part of the real ship mode. This audio podcast as part of the Bedlam and Storm, and this audio podcast synopsis as part of the shitstorm and molecule. And this audio podcast as part of a ZtormLabostix production. In this synopsis, there'll be an overview of nominations three different nomination in under three different categories under the AHA 2026 Advancing Healthcare Awards 2026, and the uh, the 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 nominations will be in around looking at where there's been collaborative efforts between the RPSG KDARs social media platforms and in with ZtormLabostix Productions. The categories that the audio podcasts where there will be sort of individual audio podcasts in around will be in around looking at AHA 2026 nomination for the best collaboration across clinical academia and industry category, and then looking at an overview in around the category for AHA 2026 and NHS England's Chief Scientific Officers award for the outstanding healthcare science service of the year, and then a nomination in around a around in sorry in a nomination in under the category of AHA 2026 for Biomedical Scientist of the Year, for Biomedical Scientist of the Year award. Also, the different in on the there will be as per mentioned, there will be separate sort of audio podcasts in around the different categories under this audio podcast series, as part of this audio podcast series as part of the real ship mode, and aligned to AHA 2026. So this is just an overview of this particular synopsis in and around this particular series. The audio podcasts themselves will go into different questions around the different nominations, and for the purpose of this synopsis, those the particular questions won't be iterated here. But under the different audio podcasts, under the individual audio podcasts, there'll be a look at the different questions that are part of the different categories. And so anyone checking out works in around under as part of ZtormLabostix Productions, then I do check out this audio podcast series. The audio podcast series will be in and across different ZtormLabostix social media. So for example, in on TikTok, YouTube, and on TikTok, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and on some aspect and where there will be the overviews will be in ZtormLabostix Instagram as well. So Do check this audio podcast series out. This is just a quick synopsis in on that particular anticipated audio podcast series, and the different audio podcasts go into some details in around the different different questions pertaining to different three different categories under the AHA 2026. So that draws this audio podcast synopsis to a close. This audio podcast synopsis is part of the AHA 2026. This audio podcast synopsis is part of the Real Shipmode. This audio podcast synopsis is part of the Bedlam and Storm. This audio podcast is part of the Shitstorm Molecule, and this audio podcast under ZtormLabostix Production. Thank you.